Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto merges with his past self, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. It was finally over, as a 20-year-old Naruto Uzumaki fell back next to his love, and stared down at the ruins of what once was the majestic Konohagakure no Sato. The fight against Madara and Orochimaru was finally over, but it still left a bitter taste in Naruto's mouth, even though they had won. Everyone who was precious to him was lost in this war. Sakura at the hand of Sasuke after she defected to be with him, Tsunade by the hand of Orochimaru, Jiraiya by pain, and Sasuke by the hand of Obito. However, he really didn't care for him anymore. The Ino Shikachou team had been defeated by an ambush over half a year back. Even with their superb teamwork and Shikamaru's genius, they couldn't overcome odds of 15 to 1. They did however take all of the enemy nin down with them. A year ago Niji and Tenten died at the order of the Hyuga elders because they got married without consent. Hinata and her sister had gone completely ballistic and killed every one of them. The last one commented about how he had ordered the killing of their mother, at which point Hinabi, startled, froze for a second, which proved to be fatal. Now even Hinata would be dead within the week. She had killed Orochimaru, but unfortunately took a chest wound from Kusanagi. If it had been any other sword she could treat it. After all, she was one of the most renowned field medics around before everything went down the drain. Some even said she was better than Tsunade, but that could never be confirmed. After all, Tsunade had died before Hinata could complete her apprenticeship. Naruto realized he really had nothing left to live for. Naruto, the last Kage, and soon-to-be sole survivor of the War of the Ninja Alliance against Sound and Akatsuki, would be all alone again. Naruto couldn't allow that, but he didn't have a clue how to fix the problem within the week. If only he had more time. And that's when it hit him. Eureka! I got it! Shouted Naruto. Got what, honey? Asked Hinata. Her confidence had skyrocketed once she started dating Naruto, and she was now a force to reckon with, especially since she had made her own Ken style, which made use of not only her flexibility, but also her mastery of the water element and the training. As backup, she even had her very own summon. I've got a way to stop this all from happening. Now Hinata was thoroughly confused. Huh? Said Hinata. I know how to stop this all from happening, although it still is only theoretical, and will require a shitload of chakra, but I have plenty. Normally when I use my long distance duration I just open 2 portals in the space-time continuum, and then link them, correct? Yes, but you can't send mass back in time with that cause it would take too much energy. Even you wouldn't be able to supply enough chakra for that. Now let me finish. What if we don't send back anything material? I can open a portal to the past, and then we can separate our spirits from our bodies. We then send them through the portal and, since we won't have any mass, we won't have to use any extra energy, just enough to open a portal in the past. But Naruto-kun, how will we send our spirits back? If we use a technique then the chakra will interfere with your portal, and it will shut itself down. That's true, Hinata-chan, so this is where it gets tricky, and I don't really know if it will work, but I know I can't live without you. We'll use a technique proceed to eject the spirit from our bodies. No Naruto-kun, you can't kill yourself. Hinata-chan, what else do I have to live for if you're gone? The war is won, all the evils are defeated, but nearly everything is in ruins. My only reason for living is because you are here. Besides, if my plan works nobody will have died. We can see all our friends again. But what about Kaio-chan? The fox had been really helpful in the past years. After the failed Sasuke retrieval mission she had finally snapped out of the Madara had used on her, as she was just finding her balance again after getting torn from the seal. Well, she will come with us too, after all her life is intertwined with mine, and she agrees with me. You know she's really starting to like you. She even said that after the war was over she wouldn't mind coming out for a few hours to join in on the fun. Said Naruto, wiggling his eyebrows at the last part. Hinata blushed at the thought. She had always wondered what it would be like to be with another woman, and seeing, as that woman was part of her Naruto-kun, and really did love him. Luckily Hinata didn't faint anymore because of perverted thoughts, although a little perverted giggle did escape her. Naruto was surprised. He had added the last part to see if he could still make her blush, but he didn't think she would accept. But back to business. So what do you think? Asked Naruto. Well, it could work. You'll need Kaio-chan to help with it because we'll have to bond together for this to work, and I want it done before I die. If it goes wrong, and we don't go through the portal, but to hell because of the suicide, then I want to go with you, and there's no arguing this point. Naruto looked scared, not for himself, but for her. He had thought about the what-ifs, but he didn't want an eternity of torment for her, and just when he was about to start to argue, Hinata interrupted. I mean it, Naruto-kun, I don't want to spend eternity if it isn't by your side. Naruto just looked dejected. Okay, Hinata-chan. And so they went to work. Naruto started on looking for the seals with which he could create the needed portal, and Hinata was looking at potential soul bonding rituals together with Kyuubi. She could get out in a temporary body with just 1 tail's worth of chakra, if Naruto allowed her. It still shocked him that Kyuubi, her title, Kyu as was the name the Sennin had given her, liked to be called by those she liked, was a woman, and a buxom beautiful redeed at that. But even with the two of them, they still couldn't find an appropriate ritual that could be done within the few days that Hinata had left, and she was getting weaker and weaker by the day. After 2 days of non-stop reading, Hinata had enough. "That's it, enough. If we haven't found it yet, then we won't find it here," shouted Hinata. "But we can't give up. If we give up now," pleaded Kaio. I know, Naruto will be devastated," whispered Hinata. "Don't you know anything? In your 500 years of living, you would have to come across something like this, haven't you?" Kaio got on a thoughtful expression which turned darker and darker, until suddenly she brightened, and then turned gloomy again. "I don't know any of them, but I have heard of a ritual once. Unfortunately, I require 3 participants bonding with each of them, instead of just you 2. But hearing this, Hinata brightened. "But Kaio-chan," said Hinata, "we are 3, aren't we?" "Huh?" Kaio responded intelligently. "Well, if I count correctly, there are 3 of us, Kaio-chan," grinned Hinata. Kaio was shocked. There was a human girl who not only accepted her, but was willing to both share her boyfriend with her, a demon, and also wanted to bond with said demon. "You do know that we would be bonded to each other too, right? Each of my sins will also be yours, and Naruto's. It will not just be you bonded to Naruto, and him to me, but you will also bond with me, meaning you will also desire me." "I know," said Hinata blushing brightly, "the sins aren't such a big deal. Both Naruto and I have done awful things in this war, and to be honest, I have always been curious." And since you do love Naruto-kun at this point, blood started to slowly trickle out of Hinata's nose, as she started to daydream about the 3 of them together. "Well, I'll just inform Naruto-kun then," chuckled Kaio. Meanwhile, Naruto had a similar problem in finding the right seals and parameters to modify the Hiraishin to not just get them back, but to also get them into their own younger bodies, and started to want to rip his hair. It was at this point that Kaio walked in. "Hey Kaio-chan, I hope you and Hinata-chan had better luck than I did," said Naruto. "Yeah, we finally found a ritual we could use, but it does have some other effects besides just binding you 2 together." "What do you mean other effects, Kaio-chan?" "Well, it will also bind and met each other together with Kaio." "I'm sorry, did I hear you correctly when you said it would also bind you 2 together?" "Yes," said Kaio, looking down. "And what does Hinata-chan think about this?" "What? No way in hell will I allow it." "Just what does Hinata think about it? Why should I forbid this if Hinata-chan is okay with it?" "She is okay with it, right?" "I think she is. After all, she did blush, and then get in that dreamy state she gets in when I ask about you, and she answers with a smirk." "Kaio-chan, be serious." "I am, and yes, she knows the consequences will not only bind me to you, and her to you, but also me to her, and, as such, takes all the sins of us all together." "Okay, then that's one problem solved. Now all I need to do is find out how I am going to get our spirits to go through the portal, and not around it, and then I still have to figure out how our spirits will go in our own younger bodies." "Oh, is that all?" Kaio said. "That's a big deal, Kaio-chan, unless you by chance know how to accomplish that," asked Naruto with a growing tick mark. "Well, I know how to fix the first part easily, and I think I remember something about the second not being a problem." "What do you mean you think you remember? And how could it be easy for you?" "Don't forget, Naruto-kun. I might look 20 years old like you, but I am over 5,000 years old. The solution for the first is easy. You just use seals on the walls of a tunnel to stop a spirit from migrating through them, and then make the portal at the end of said tunnel. I take it you know such seals." "Well, they're not really seals so much as force fields," replied a now smiling Kaio. "Okay, now that that's solved, what do you remember about our second problem?" "Well, I heard once about a boy named Harry who did the same thing. Back then they still used magic, so it was a bit different, but the fact is that he sent his spirit and magical power back in time just like we will be doing, and then once he got there, Johansen's principle of conjoining was applied, in which his old soul went into the young body and merged with his younger self. So you're telling me that if we just go to the past we will automatically be joined together with our younger selves?" "Well, not really. Your young body has to be in the vicinity of the older soul, and it has to be merged within the day, or your old soul will just pass on." "Well, we'll just have to make sure that we time it right then," said a smiling Naruto. "Come on, let's go prepare, and also get Hinata-chan out of that daze." The day before Hinata would die of the poison, they gathered to join their souls together in the old school, in the sole remaining standing corridor. "So is everybody ready?" asked Kaio again. "Yes, Kaio, for the last time we know what we're getting into," said Naruto. "We know that we'll be judged together, and all of your skills will be added to ours, but just think, with us doing this, and saving so many people, we'll be fine. And if we're not, then we will still get through the punishment together. Besides, what's the worst they could do to us that hasn't been done to us yet?" asked Hinata. Kaio saw the determination in both their eyes, and so began the ritual. "Don't really know anything about this, so just imagine it yourself." After the ritual was over, they stood by gasping. It had been more draining than it looked. So Naruto pulled out a soldier pill and swallowed it. He felt the rush of chakra and started the 600 hand seals required to open the time portal at the end of the corridor. At the same time, Kaio and Hinata were placing seals on the walls of the corridors and closing up the door openings using Doten, earthen wall. After Naruto finally finished the long sequence of seals, the portal slowly started opening. After it was finally opened, they all looked at one another. Naruto walked toward the girls and kissed them each. If this doesn't work, then I want you both to know, I love you both. I love you too, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, and you too, Kaio-chan. Thank you both. You don't know how much this means to me, and just so you know I also love you both, said an out teary-eyed Kaio. Well, let's do this, said Naruto. Both Naruto and Hinata uncorked a vial of poison that would kill them within a second. They looked at each other, and downed the vials in one gulp. The next second both fell down, and the body of Kaio poofed away. Naruto was really worried now. Normally when he used his big head everyone was shocked awake, but Naruto hadn't even made a peep, even Shikamaru was awake now. Strangely enough, nobody noticed that shy little Hinata also hadn't made a sound, or that she was even unconscious in the first place. Then again, she was normally so quiet that even if she was awake the only way you could get her to speak was to ask her a direct question. Even Mizuki hadn't seen the fact that Hinata was also unconscious. He was just happy that something was wrong with the demon boy. Even Kiba, the boy infatuated with Hinata, didn't seem to notice. In Naruto's mindscape, little Naruto woke up in a sewer-like environment. Wow, where is this? Naruto thought to himself. He had just decided to take a look around to see if there were any exits when he started to hear breathing. Deciding that the thing breathing heavily might know something more, he decided to investigate. So he followed the sound of heavy breathing, and came to a gigantic gate from which the sound came. As he inched closer and closer, the breathing became more erratic. Just before he would be close enough to be caught by the still crazed Kyuubi, a voice called out, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Naruto turned around, and fell back in shock. Here before him stood the yondaime, and a buxom beauty, Yondaime-sama. Stuttered Naruto. The yondaime look-alike chuckled, "Nope, sorry, I'm not our dad." Now Naruto was utterly confused. Huh. He stated oh so eloquently. The redeed next to the yondaime look-alike, said while hitting him over the head, "Stop tormenting yourself. This will be so much easier if you don't." Alright, ruin my fun, why don't you?" said the look-alike with a pout that made even Naruto chuckle. Not giggling, chuckle a giggle is not manly at all. He turned around to Naruto. "I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, last living Kage of the Shinobi Alliance, and next to me is the lovely Kaio-chan, also known as the most feared demon on this planet of existence, the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Behind those bars is the same Kyuubi, but do stay away for a little while longer, as she will still try to kill you, because she's under the influence of a man named Madara Uchiha," said the adult Naruto. "Now just one question, what day is it today?" 2 weeks before the genin exam, said an even more confused young Naruto. "Okay, so only week off target, not so bad if I do say so myself." "What do you mean not so bad? You said you were certain you could get us back to the right time. We could have died," screamed the redeed. "It worked, didn't it?" pointed out the older Naruto childishly. Even with his 20 years of age, he could still act like a child. However, the real child was getting tired of Naruto's attitude, and the constant bickering he got into with this Kaio lady. "Could somebody explain what the fuck is going on here?" screamed the young Naruto. "Alright, settle down, Kami, I didn't know I was such an obnoxious loudmouth when I was young." "Hey. What? I tell it, as I see it. Anyway, just stay quiet, and let me explain. We came from the future, yes the future. You see, where I come from everyone, but I had died during a war that will start in a few years. In this war everybody who is precious to us dies, even Hinata-chan was going to die," said a now gloomy Naruto. "Hinata-chan? You mean that weird girl that always faints around me? Oh god, I still can't believe I was this close." "Yes Naruto, that Hinata Namikaze Uzumaki, our wife." At this the younger Naruto went bug-eyed. "But that isn't what's important. What's important now is that you and I need to merge." "What do you mean merge, and why should I? It sounds creepy." "You going to eat me, aren't you?" "I knew, it's just a ghost trying to take over," exclaimed younger Naruto, suddenly started to panic slightly. After all, even though he tried to hide it, Naruto was scared to death of ghosts. No, I'm not going to eat you. Merging means that you incorporate you and your older self, me, into one being, which includes gaining my memories, as well as my chakra. Do be careful though, your combined personality will be more your old self than your young self, but with this we can stop the destruction of Konoha, and the death of all your friends," explained Naruto. "I will have friends, and even a wife?" asked young Naruto with a hopeful, maybe even pleading voice. "Yes we will, and they'll all like you very much, but if we don't do something they'll all die, even Hinata-chan. I will not let that happen again," said the elder Naruto with conviction. "So let me get this straight, if we merge I will get your memories and chakra, but my personality will change." "Yep, that's the gist of it," said the elder Naruto. "But I will still be the dominant personality, right?" "Well, we're not entirely sure. This has only been done once, and it never was documented. I remember someone doing such a thing, but I never did see the result," said Kaio. "So you don't even know if it worked?" asked both Naruto at the same time. "Well, I heard that there weren't too many casualties in that war, so I assumed it did. It was either that or the kid had even more luck than you do. Though I do remember his enemies being inbred idiots, as well, so we're getting off topic again. Now we need to merge quickly, otherwise Iruka-sensei will really start to worry, and might do something to stop it," said the elder Naruto. "One last question. Will I really have friends, and become Hokage?" asked young Naruto, hope evident in his voice. Yes Naruto, we will, after we merge you will see for yourself, said Naruto, before stepping forward and hugging the child. Meanwhile in Hinata's mindscape, the older Hinata was also having problems, though of a different kind, and they all started the moment young Hinata saw herself. Mommy, I miss you, why did you have to leave me? Called a now weeping Hinata. At this point the elder Hinata blanched, she hadn't thought about this response at all, she was over her mother's death. But now that she thought it over, she could see where her younger self would get the idea from. She hated herself for bursting her bubble, but she had to. I'm sorry dear, but I'm not your mother. You're not? Then who are you? Said younger Hinata, backing away. Relax dear, I'm no threat to you. Kiba maybe, but not you. Again, who are you? My name is Uzumaki Namikaze Hinata. Uzumaki, as in Naruto-kun. Yep, said the elder Hinata, still astounded that her younger self didn't ask questions about her having the name Hinata, but having the name Uzumaki, oh god, was I really like that before? Thought Hinata. And then it dawned on the younger version, she, and the woman who she confused for her mother had the same first name, and looked similar to each other. You are me, and you are the wife of Naruto-kun. At this point she fainted. Yes, she even faints in her own mind. Hinata sighed again, why oh why did she have to faint so much? Now Hinata had to wait till her younger version returned to the land of the living, seeing as she didn't have any smelling salt or anything with her. Hell, if she hadn't known how to use her mindscape she would have been here naked. A good impression that does not make, though maybe with Naruto shaking her head the elder Hinata focused away from her perverted thoughts, and made to wake up the child by shaking her. It still took her 10 minutes in the mindscape before the younger Hinata finally regained consciousness. Immediately after regaining her senses, young Hinata started blushing again. Luckily the elder Hinata stopped her before she could faint again. Now what do you suppose Naruto would think if he saw you like that? The younger Hinata looked down, and started tapping her index fingers together. BN. If anyone knows a better way of explaining that cute finger pokey thing she does, PM me please. Okay, now that you stopped fainting, do you have any questions? Asked the elder Hinata. Well you, and Naruto-kun. Yes Naruto, and I are married, and even bonded for life, we are also bonded with the Kaiu. She added with a whisper, so her younger version wouldn't freak out too much. But I thought Kyuubi was dead. She stopped stuttering because she's not thinking about it. No, that was just a lie, she was sealed inside my dear husband, and those bastard villagers treated him like scum because of it. Said a now agitated elder Hinata. Suddenly all the states, and glares, and name-calling, started making sense to young Hinata. But he isn't Kyuubi, is he? No, he's not. So why, and how are you here then? Now we get to the point of the matter. You see my husband, and Kaiu-chan, and I. Wait, Kaiu-chan? She interrupted, now confused again. I thought it was an evil demon. Kaiu-chan is a woman, not in it, and she's no more evil than I am. You see, it wasn't really her fault. Two men named Madara and Orochimaru, you don't need to know more about them for the moment, just know that they are bad people, and that they put on her, so that she would attack the village. And now she is also bonded with both Naruto and me, so I would suggest that you don't call her it again. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. You didn't, dear, it's just that with the bond, and all we're pretty protective of each other. Now where were we? Ah yes, so, as I was saying, we decided that the war had cost us all far too much. I was dying at the time, and all of our friends and family had already been killed, so we decided that we would go back in time to correct it all. What do you mean? Well you see Naruto uses a technique called the Hiraishin no dot. The Hiraishin. As in the Hiraishin created by the fourth. Yes, that one. He used it to create a portal which, instead of sending him from one place to another, it would send us all back in time. Then according to Kaiu-chan we would meet with our younger selves, and merge together. Merge? Yes, merge. Basically you would get all my memories, my chakra, and parts of my personality, so that we, together with Naruto-kun and Kaiu-chan, will be able to save our precious people, and maybe even make the world a better place. Will you allow us to merge? It's okay to be a little bit scared of Hinata, but we really do have to hurry up. At the moment nobody has probably noticed us passing out because Naruto gathers more attention, but if it got out that we both were out at the same time it could get ugly because then the villagers would think Naruto did something to us. Naruto-kun would never hurt us. I know, but you heard what the villagers think of him. So will you do it? Hi, I will not let Naruto-kun go through this alone. And with this the two linked hands in front of each other, and the older Hinata faded, and a wind blew through young Hinata, and her garden full of flowers. Then the headache came. Back in Naruto's mindscape, the two still stood in front of each other. They were about to link hands when another voice decided she had to be heard. Hey, what about me? Ha! Said both of Naruto's oh so eloquently. Don't I get what I say in this? Not really, stupid furball. You see, if we merge then that will mean that Kaiu-chan here will also merge with you, but you don't really have a say in the matter, and turn back into your human form. I know you can. Said the elder Naruto. What did you just call me? Yelled the enraged fox. You heard me, you damn furball. You will only get respect when you finally calm down, but since that won't normally happen for another 3 years, you don't get a choice. If he and I merge then Kaiu-chan will also merge with you, and will break the thing that's holding you. Said the elder Naruto. So, you ready? He said, once more turning to his younger counterpart and ignoring the fox. The young Naruto just nodded, and when they locked hands the younger self seemed to fade into the elder one. But that wasn't all, the entire mindscape changed. A wind seemed to blow through the sewer cleaning it up, a giant grass field started to grow over it, and an enormous tree erupted in the middle of the now grass-covered clearing. You could even see some mountains on the horizon, as also a huge orange bunny was hopping there, but let's not think about that. And then the headache came. Both Hinata and Naruto woke up at the same time, but since everybody was hanging over Naruto, and Iruka was right above him, Naruto smashed his head right into him, and cried out in pain. Luckily, or unlucky considering the already splitting headache, the outcry did drown out the small whimper Hinata also made. Naruto, are you okay? Iruka asked with concern evident in his voice. Yeah, just fine Iruka-sensei, said a now grinning Naruto. Oh how he hated having to put up this stupid mask again. Just fell asleep again, didn't get enough sleep because I was thinking about all the cool pranks I was gonna be able to pull after I graduate next time. You really had me worried there for a moment Naruto, you normally wake up directly, said a now very relieved Iruka. Apparently there was nothing wrong with Naruto, he was still the same old dunderhead. Sorry, Iruka-sensei, said Naruto with his best puppy dog look. Okay, now that this disturbance is cleared up, back to business called Iruka. This was met with a collective groan, two of which only came for having a splitting headache. The rest of the day was just another day at the academy. Naruto never had the chance to talk to Hinata to see if she had gotten her memory back, as well. Luckily they had anticipated this, and had decided that if it succeeded they would meet at their usual spot at 4 p.m. After class was finally over both slipped away, and made for their little hideout atop the fort's head. Arriving at the top of the monument, Hinata looked out at Konoha, and thought about how great it was to be back. A few moments later, Naruto arrived panting heavily. Damn, I'm out of shape. These damn intelligence and muscle-suppressing seals really need to come off quickly, said Naruto mostly to himself. Glad to see you too, honey, smirked Hinata. Why haven't you let out Kayu-chan? Well, she's having a little trouble at the moment. You see, she's kinda battling her other form because she didn't accept the merger, because she's still under the dot. Kayu needs to beat her before they can get to assimilating their memories. Oh, said a now sad Hinata, I hope she doesn't get hurt. Don't worry Hinata-chan, said Naruto now hugging Hinata. Kayu-chan is stronger without them than with it, and the fact that she learned a few tricks from us can't be bad now could it? You're right, it's just with the bond, I can't help but be protective. I know, I feel the same way. But now to the matter at hand, deciding what we're going to change, and when. I'm not going to join Team 7 again, that's for sure. I can understand that, I don't want to be on the team with Kiba-kun again. Ha, why? Well, in the previous timeline, he always came on to me, and I don't think that I will have the patience to turn him down peacefully this time. I'm not sure if it's just because of the bond or what Hinata stated. Yeah, and even if you wouldn't, I would. So no Team 7, and no Kiba on my team. We'll just have to make sure you and I get put on the same team. Yeah, but what about Mizuki-sensei? What do you mean Naruto-kun? And so Naruto explained what happened after he failed in the previous timeline. BN. Everyone knows the story. Good, we'll move on. I have to go through it again, otherwise how will I explain my sudden use of the Kage Bunshin? Though just saying I saw it from Kakashi will save both of us a lot of trouble later on. He's pretty lax when it comes to training him. And besides, don't you think it would be wrong to take the scroll and not copy it? I never did find it when I was in office. Kami knows what kind of uses it had. Oh, that reminds me, could you copy every scroll in the Hyuga library? Ha, why? Asked a startled Hinata. Well, I want to make a collection of every book and scroll in Konoha, and to be honest, if you could copy everything I wouldn't have to sneak in and do it myself. Okay, but why do you want a copy of everything? Do you remember near the end of the war when the Inoshikacho team died? Yes, what about it? Well, I always wondered if maybe they would have survived if they had been able to learn more of their family techniques. You do remember that many of those scrolls were lost in the fight against pain. I can see where you're going with this, but the elders are still watching me constantly, and I can't copy everything by hand. It would take years, said Hinata, shouting the last part. I know, you could do it while I steal and copy the forbidden scroll. That should be a big enough distraction. And, as for copying the scrolls, all you need is an empty scroll the same size as the scroll you want to copy, then just do the sequence of hand signs. Rat, tiger, ox. That's the copy I made when I was in the academy. What? Why? Asked Hinata. You know how I was treated by Hinata-chan? The only time I could get a scroll with the right information was when I would copy it from another student. What? Shrieked Hinata. That is unacceptable, Naruto-kun. I know, but I still got through it, and it motivated me to make this handy-dandy, so it wasn't all bad. But how will you get into the other clan compounds? Hinata-chan, are you forgetting who you are talking to? I'm Uzumaki Naruto, the greatest prank master Konoha has ever seen. I will just do the same thing I do when I pull my pranks, but this time I will copy everything first, and then set off the prank. This way no one will have a clue what I'm doing, and maybe, just maybe, the clans will be more on guard, and tighten up their security. You're right, but I'm still going to worry. And just how are you going to get on my team if you're still gonna fail the test? Well, Gigi does still owe me one for covering for him when he was almost caught with his Ichigo Paradise book. What? Our Hokage is a pervert. I'll teach him, I'll ken his little. Now Hinata-chan, he just uses it to get away from his paperwork. Give him at least that one vice. Together with his pipe, it's all he has. Besides, it's not like he openly flaunts it like a certain Jonin I know, so don't be too hard on him. And don't even try to lie to me just what those grey books you are hiding in your closet are for. Meanwhile in Hokage Tower, Sarutobi suddenly felt a chill running down his nose, only to have it evaporate a few seconds later. He kneeled, and thanked the log for the reprieve. At the other end of town, Kakashi got the same chill and dread-filled feeling, but unfortunately for him, it didn't go away. I feel like my days are numbered. Oh well, that's the life of the ninja. Back with Hinata and Naruto. You're right, I'll first get Kakashi, then I'll get the Hokage. Now Hinata-chan, don't you think I should take care of Kakashi-sensei? With an evil smile. But, he's a pervert, I want to hurt him. Don't worry, you'll get hurt by Iro-senin. I'll deal with Kakashi-kun, said Naruto, already thinking of his evil master plan involving orange masks, orange books, a pair of guys' panties, and lots of yaoi. Suddenly, the dreadful feeling Kakashi felt multiplied tenfold. Now he was a little scared. Alright, but only if you let me help, said Hinata, activating the dreaded puppy eyes. No. Naruto didn't stand a chance. Fine, you get to join in on the fun. So, until graduation, we allow everything to remain exactly the same. Yes dear, so don't forget to stutter and blush constantly. Oh dear log, why did I have to do that when I was young? Don't worry, after the exams are over we can start to change our personas. That way we can chalk it up to us maturing and hiding our talent. Now can you help get these damn seals off me? You have no idea how annoying it is to not only be so short again, but to be impeded by those damn seals again, as well. I know, my body is completely out of shape. We'll need to train to get back up to snuff. Thank Kami you invented those gravity seals. They are much easier than those damn weights. Now hold still, and I'll get those seals off. Naruto was sure that he heard someone shouting about youth of some sort, and he couldn't help but shiver. Thanks, I would do them myself, but even I can't unseal a seal on my back and back of my head. Even though Hinata wasn't a seal master, she was still adept at it. After all, you don't marry a master and not pick up a few things. And so Hinata started to work. It was nearly sunset when she finished. She wiped the sweat off her brow. Glad that's over. So honey, how's Kayu-chan doing? Oh, she's just fine. She overpowered her younger version a few minutes back and is now assimilating her memories. Oh goody, I wanted to see her before I left and have to go back to being the shy girl again. I know Han, said Naruto, pulling Hinata into him so that they both face the sunset. She'll be ready in about 3 minutes, but she'll have a splitting headache. I'm just glad that we didn't have a spar today cause I don't think I would have been able to walk, never mind fight someone with the migraine I had. I know what you mean, it was like Chaoji used that hammer he had in the end, and banged my head with it repeatedly. Naruto chuckled at the image Hinata gave him. He could just see it now, Hinata, the strongest kunoichi in the village, getting hit in the head by Chaoji, and it was thrilling like it was a bell. Hearing him chuckle, Hinata pouted, which only made Naruto chuckle harder. Finally, after Naruto had calmed down again, he adopted a faraway look, and before Hinata knew it, she and Naruto were on the ground, bowled over by something. Her head had landed on something long, fluffy, and silky. When she got her bearings again, she was happy to see Kayu-chan, who now had 2 tails instead of the normal one. Why does Kayu-chan have 2 tails? Isn't she too powerful then? Not that I mind or anything, but won't everybody feel her? Don't worry Hinata-chan, because of the merging of you, and I now have the chakra of our future selves, along with the chakra of our current selves, and it will continue to grow. Kayu-chan now has something like the equivalent of 1.5 times 9 tails worth of chakra, which still wasn't even close to her gaining another tail. But since she's now bonded with both of us, she can control 2 tails when she comes out of the seal herself, instead of just 1. Now at this point Kayu was starting to feel left out, so she decided it was best to take matters into her own hands. So she grabbed both of them, and kissed them both soundly on the lips. This shocked both teenagers. Hinata for having her first kiss with another girl at this time, and Naruto because he just saw the every straight man's dream played out live, directly in front of him. Satisfied that she had both left them gaping, Kayu got settled in, while both Hinata and Naruto's minds processed what just happened, and watched the sunset. In the end they didn't want to continue their depressing talk, and decided to continue it another time, so they got comfortable, and watched the sunset. Afterwards Hinata said she would have to go home, but they decided to come back tomorrow. But for now at least they had to go back to pretending, as if nothing happened. Finally the first day after the merge had been fully over, and Naruto was utterly and completely bored. When he had decided to go back, he had of course taken into account that he was going back to getting glares from all the villagers, and that he had to be the village idiot once more. But what he hadn't anticipated was that he had to sit through those boring lessons again. Once was enough, but now he had to go back and do it a second time. Stupid slight miscalculation, and stupid Kayu for making me go, thought Naruto in a mutter. The classes were finally over, and he could be himself again at least for a little while. He and Hinata would start training again to get back up to snuff. After all, their more advanced techniques did require both chakra control and physical requirements that they didn't have at the moment, especially flexibility for Hinata and speed for Naruto. So Naruto sped to the top of the fort's head, to their secret meeting spot right behind a certain spike that seemed to be at the exact same place as the spike on Naruto's head. Arriving at the meeting spot, it seemed as if Hinata had not arrived there. So Naruto decided he could go and give Kaio-chan a visit inside his mindscape. However, that wasn't necessary, as at the same moment Kaio materialized. "Ha, I didn't think you could get out without permission. Side benefit of the ritual." "What do you mean?" "Well, you see, with me bonded to both you and Hinata-chan, you both together can keep me in check if I would go ballistic again. Of course the same goes for both you and Hinata-chan. We can't really give orders, but calming down each other is possible, as is riling each other up," said Kaio with a wiggle of her eyebrows. "And since you can keep me from going ballistic, one of the safety measures on the seal is forfeit, so I can now get out whenever I want to, with the chakra limiter of only 10% of power, so now 2 tails is still on me, unless you give me more. But do not ever give me all of it," said Kaio, the last part very seriously. "Okay, but why?" "Well, since your system is so used to both of our chakras circulating in you, if one would suddenly be gone, well, your system would collapse. That's why it's considered lethal to extract out of it. Sure, you could survive a little like your mother, but your life would be forfeit." "Okay, I definitely agree with Kaio-chan on that part," said Hinata, shocking both Kaio and Naruto. "Hello, honey," said Naruto, kissing Hinata. "You can't imagine how much I've wanted to do that today." "Oh, believe me, I know," she replied after eagerly returning the kiss. "What about me?" exclaimed Kaio, before being assaulted by both pair of LIPSN. "How they do it nobody knows or will know, but hey, they're ninjas, just one of the perks." Once they came up for air, about 5 minutes later, both Hinata and Naruto started to giggle at the dumbfounded look on Kaio's face. Shaking her head, Kaio became serious. "Okay, let's get started. We all need to get up to snuff again, including me. I might be 500, but if I can't get my body to react the way I want, then those years of experience won't do me any good." "You're right, let's get started," said Naruto. They decided to keep their training a secret, so the only place really safe was where they were meeting for the moment, though after the Mizuki mission Naruto would request his heritage, especially the Namikaze compound, including the secret training ground under it. After once more checking to make sure they weren't being spied upon, they started with a couple rounds around the training ground on top of the fort's head. Now normally that wouldn't even be a warm-up for a ninja, but with gravity seals that added X times the weight of the person distributed equally over the entire body, it was still a pain. And the seals were improvements because they not only trained certain muscles like normal weights, but all their muscles. The course Naruto's was already at 0.5, and Hinata and Kaio's at 0.25. They were after all only 12 and 500 years old, but since Kaio didn't want to look like a pervert, she also got the body of a 12-year-old that aged together with Naruto's body. After the lapse, they started their stretches. After all, Hinata's techniques did mainly use her flexibility, while Naruto's was more about the environment and surprise, and Kaio used her great knowledge of both the human psyche and anatomy. Flexibility was still a key aspect needed for any ninja. And of course speed was very important for all their styles, so if they could get a decent foothold by being able to twist their body a certain way, then their speed would improve, as well as would their power, which was more important for Naruto than Kaio, seeing as even if she only slightly punched certain points, they would still hurt incredibly. After their stretches, they did sit-ups, pumps, squats, each doing their maximums just to see how far they could go in their current bodies, and just how much they still needed to train to get back into shape. After that, they practiced their basic katas to relearn their muscle memory. However, that seemed harder than they once thought, especially since their minds still tried to use their older bodies. With this in mind, Naruto might get lucky enough to just relearn the academy basics before the Mizuki incident. After all, what he had learned from the teachers was completely wrong, so he now even had to rewrite that already existing muscle memory too. Hinata and Kaio, seeing Naruto struggle even with the basics of the basics, decided to take pity on him and help him out, although disgruntled, even Naruto knew better than to argue with them. After an hour of going over the basics again with Naruto, they all decided that the one thing they needed now was chakra control after all, because of the sudden influx they really needed. Even Kaio, who was used to having large reserves, had problems thanks to her now using 2 tails instead of 1, doubling your reserves, or even more so with Hinata, and Naruto really isn't so effective. Heck, even Hinata, who had perfect control before, now had shabby at best, and having shabby control and using really didn't mix well. So they started at the basics of leaf floating. Luckily, with their larger reserves, they could now go 2 hours straight and still have enough. Tough Hinata started to look peaky. After their chakra control, they would like to see if the sudden influx of chakra had any other effect on them. So they tried to see if their elemental composition had changed. What came next surprised even Kaio. She looked at Naruto's paper, blinked, and even pinched herself. She couldn't believe it. She had anticipated that he might get an extra element thanks to the sudden influx that she could understand, but what she was seeing astounded her. First Naruto's paper split into two, then again now having 4 different parts. The first part started cutting itself in two again, until she could just barely see the snippets. The second part started to burn just like the element of fire should, but now the fire also got a blue hue just like her foxfire. The third part suddenly started to crackle and crinkle. The last part then just scrunched and dried up like an earth element. However, this was not really profound. Next up was Caillou herself. She knew what to expect. The paper would just burst into blue flames signifying her foxfire affinity. So when suddenly the paper also started splitting into 3 after starting to burn, she was surprised even more so that one was still splitting, although not nearly as much as Naruto's. One had burned brighter, and the last had done the last thing she ever expected it, by turning soggy like the water element. Well, Caillou-chan, it seems we're all just full of surprises, said a laughing Naruto with a shocked look on her face. Then after Naruto had stopped laughing, Hinata decided to see if anything was different with her. She picked up the paper and channeled her chakra. The paper just got wet almost, as if you could really get water to drop from it. After this it split, like with wind affinity, and one part started to crackle, and the other started to burn with a blue-hued fire. Although the fire was not nearly as strong as Naruto's or Caillou's, it was definitely there. Well, this is a nice side effect, not an expected one, but still a nice one, said Caillou. What do you mean, Caillou-chan? Asked both Hinata and Naruto, who didn't seem to get how this could happen. Well, we'll go over this one by one. Okay, Naruto-kun, congratulations. You are the first human ever to get 3 major elements with a subclass and a minor element. You definitely still have wind as your primary, probably much stronger than before. Then fire and lightning as a good second and third, however it was close. However, this fire will more likely be more of the subclass than anything, namely the subclass of Demon Foxfire, my fire. And then you have the minor affinity to earth. I think this is your mother's side acting up now that you have so much chakra. I don't think you'll be able to use all of her techniques, but maybe the basic ones will be attainable through much hard work. Summarized Caillou. Hinata-chan then seems to have also received a part from both me and you. She already had a weak affinity to lightning, of which your affinity comes from Naruto, and then a strong water affinity. Now however she has a very strong water affinity, almost as strong as your wind affinity, Naruto. At this Naruto just had to interrupt. That's so cool, Hinata-chan. But that's not all, she also got your wind affinity. However, just as her third element, her electricity has become much more pronounced, probably because of the sudden increase in chakra. And then last, but not least, she has my foxfire too, although due to her water affinity, it will be weaker than yours. And lastly mine. Now I must say this is the first time I ever heard or seen something like this. You see, at the birth of a demon it gets one affinity, and that's it, but now I have got Naruto's wind as my second affinity. My foxfire is now even stronger, and I also have a weak water affinity. Just so you know, I don't think this is a bad trait, cause I only have less affinity than you, but since I am a demon, I can make up for my lack of an extra affinity by using my foxfire more efficiently. Okay, Caillou-chan, you explained what we have, but how come we've shared affinities? You said something about it being a side effect, asked Naruto. Well, I believe that this is also an effect of both the travel and the binding ritual. Since we were bonded together, we would automatically be more acclimated to each other, but also more protective. And now since we went back in time and gave our chakra to our younger versions, the chakra already acclimated to each other, and now if I am not mistaken, it was somewhat mixed during our travels. This gave our current merged younger versions their original affinities, plus one of each other's. You gave me and Hinata wind, and I gave you and Hinata foxfire, since that's the only one I've got, and Hinata-chan, since she had 2, gave 1 to each of us, you, Naruto-kun, lightning, and me her water, explained Caillou. But what about my earth element, Caillou-chan? Like I said before, that's probably your mother's side shining through. You probably would have gotten earth too if you had gotten older and trained some more, especially in your clan arts. But now with your sudden increase in chakra, it decided to show itself somewhat early. And before you ask, no, I don't know more about your mother, other than that she used chains or already living plants and manipulated them. Her seal was less complex and more binding than yours, without much space for interaction. In the meantime, with the shocking explanation and the actual doing of the test, the sun had started to set down. Now normally after elemental training, they would now plan more for the future and discuss what to change and how, but after this shocker they decided it would be best to just watch and enjoy the sunset with the 3 of them. And so it went on for the next 2 weeks, Hinata and Naruto boring themselves endlessly during the day, with even Hinata napping during class. But again, since she was always so quiet, nobody really noticed, except the 2 resident IQ monsters, Shino and Shikamaru, though it could also be said, as an argument, that Shikamaru was just so in tune with his sleepy side, that he noticed a fellow napper. However, they didn't really think much about it. Shino just filed it away for later, and Shikamaru, well, he just found it too troublesome to think too much about it. And so the days crawled by with them upping their training each day, and even getting to know their elements a little better. However, without the proper control, elemental manipulation still seemed a bit difficult for anything other than their main, and already mastered manipulation. But now all was well and good, however it could not last. The first Sunday after their return on Monday, Hinata was stopped by her father before meeting with Naruto. Now this was a part she really disliked. She had to remain civil with the man who had kicked her out of the family, and even almost gave her the seal at the insistence of the elders, but he had been about to put in on her no less. If it weren't for Naruto, and his quick thinking, and acting before they could get the seal on her, she would never have been the girl she was now. Her father, always glaring, stopped her, and asked, "Where are you going, Hinata? I haven't seen you train at all this week." "Sorry Otusei father, I was just worried that I would fail the test, so I have spent the last couple of evenings going to the library." Which was true considering she and Naruto had been sending a clone to the library each evening, Naruto of course into a different random civilian each and every night. That still doesn't excuse yourself from neglecting your family training. Hinata was starting to panic slightly. This wasn't supposed to happen till after the exam, and she and Naruto still weren't so far ahead in planning to decide on what to do about her being evicted from her clan. After all, it was when she had stopped training in the Hyuga compound that she was evicted. They didn't even want to send her to the branch, so they instead disowned her and kicked her out. But maybe she could use this to her advantage if they were still as smug as the other time she could get out from under the thumb of her clan and not get the seal. "Yomi and sorry, Otu-san, I will start training immediately," all the while hoping that she could get a moment alone, so she could send a clone to Naruto to tell the both of them what was happening, and then decide what to do. "Oh, and Hinata, you and Hanabi will have another sparring match the morning after your exam, is that understood?" Yes, Otu-san. Still thinking about how they would handle it, Hinata inadvertently started thinking about Hanabi. However now she had a facade to keep up, not that it was too difficult after all. Learning the which was based on the earth affinity, which nearly all the members of the Hyuga clan had, except maybe one or two, but even they had earth, as a minor. They all had it all, but her mother, who she took after, another reason for wanting to throw her out. Thinking about Hanabi, she couldn't really blame her, after all she just didn't know any better. And, as far as Hinata was concerned, Hanabi had redeemed herself the night she went ballistic with Hinata on the Hyuga elders, after the Niji tragedy. That night she had shown that she still cared for her family. Meanwhile with Naruto at Training Ground 04, I'm really getting worried Kaio-chan. What if something terrible happened to her? What if those elders did something to her? Exclaimed Naruto. Relax Naruto-kun, worrying won't help much, and besides if something was really wrong with Hinata-chan, we would feel it through the bond, so let's just train, and get stronger, so that you can actually do something if those elders decided to act up. After all, now you can't even beat one of them, you shouldn't even think about all of them. Just as Naruto wanted to start complaining again, a Hinata clone came, and explained everything which in turn made Naruto grumble. In the end they decided that they would just let it act out like last time. He also reminded her not to say anything about her future involvement with the Mizuki mission. Only Naruto, and maybe the Hokage would know about that, and only if he didn't want to put both Hinata and Naruto on the same team. They had also decided to keep their real skills hidden even from him, only showing just that little bit. And a certain taboo would be to mention Kaio-chan around anyone other than the three of them. And so the week after progressing, Hinata sent a few clones to train with Naruto and Kaio, while all the while sucking phenomenally while practicing at home. The week progressed, and finally it was Friday, the day of the exam. Talk thought speak talk normal talking, thought thinking. Hinata sighed. Even with all the preparations Naruto still managed to nearly be late at his genin exam. She was really going to have to start training him up. It just wouldn't do for the future Hokage to leave the council waiting. She snickered. How many times had Naruto and she left the council waiting while just lazing around or going snuggling? The faces the council then made were just hilarious when they then finally did arrive, and no matter how many times they did it, it still stayed funny. Hinata snapped out of her thoughts when Iruka dropped the test paper in front of her. She looked in front of her at the test. Yep, the same old test. It was settling to find that at least some things didn't change by their interference. With Naruto, it's still so refreshing to see all the hate towards us, don't you think, Kaio-chan? I'm sorry, said Kaio. Don't worry, Kaio-chan, I know it wasn't your fault, not now, and not before. But, no Kaio-chan, it isn't your fault that the villagers are idiots. Now what to do about this on my test? Well, you could always answer the question correctly to be in the team of Hinata, in other words, not be dead last. And then recast it. You're right, thanks. And so Naruto did just that, though he still made some mistakes. Don't want to get accused of cheating. Now would we, though traveling back in time, might be kin to cheating, nah. After the written portion of the exam was finally over, Iruka told them that the Taijutsu wouldn't be tested today, but would be graded over the entire course of the term. At this most of the class groaned. Sasuke's fangirls were squealing about how it didn't matter for Sasuke anyway because he was so cool that he would of course be first. After hearing this, Naruto would have really liked to puke. What he ever saw in Sakura he never figured out. Well, you probably saw her, as your chance to be noticed after all. She is the most noticeable kunoichi in your class, and also the most obnoxious one. Yeah, you do know it was a rhetorical question, right? Of course, but it is always so much fun to annoy you. While Naruto was having this conversation, Iruka explained the target practice test. Each of them would get 1 shot, they would get 5 kunai, and 15 shuriken. On the course there were 15 clearly visible targets, 5 well-hidden ones, and 5 fairly hidden ones. The object was to hit as many targets as you could. The hidden ones got you extra points, and bulleye got you even more. The first in line was Shikamaru. Predictably, he just did the absolute minimum requirement, meaning hitting the 15 clearly visible targets somewhat right, with 5 of them getting a kunai extra. Next up was Shino. Although Naruto never really noticed the boy, he did do fairly well. He got 17 targets, good enough not to be last, but just in the middle. But while doing this, Naruto figured there was more to it than this. He knew that Shino knew where all the targets were, so then why not hit them all? And then it dawned on him. Caillou chuckled slightly in his mind that it took him long enough. Shino was deceiving everyone. Deception, the greatest tool a ninja could use. However, Naruto did think that at 12 years old hiding so much was a bit paranoid. But then again, he himself was also hiding almost everything. In the meantime, Hinata, Sakura, and a couple other random people had gone with Hinata being a nice median just like Shino. Next up was the dog boy. Naruto didn't really have anything against him, however. If he tried anything on Hinata this time around, the dog boy would be the dog girl. Kiba did well on this training. He, just like Naruto, was good at the practical, but really sucked at theory. Kiba had found all the targets, but his throws had been off target a bit. Then last, but not least before Naruto would be up, was Sasuke. Naruto, expecting it this time, stuck his fingers in his ears before he would go deaf from all the squealing all his fangirls did. Sasuke had apparently hit all 20 of them, with only one just missing the bulleye, though he did only hit the visible ones, and the fairly hidden ones. Sasuke smirked when he looked at Naruto while saying, "Beat that dope." Now if Naruto's memory serves correctly, last time Naruto had also hit everything, but his accuracy had been worse. Now if Naruto had still been the inexperienced boy, then he would have jumped at this opportunity to beat the team, but luckily he wasn't, and, as such, could keep his anger in check. He did still do just a little bit worse than Sasuke, but enough that Sasuke would feel the heat. He decided that he would do the same, as last time, only this time make it always a near miss of the bulleye, instead of somewhere in the 4-point circle like last time. Though he did accidentally hit one of the well-hidden ones, simply by seeming to miss one of the easier visible targets. But even with this bonus he had still, with all 3 other basic skills already covered, the only ones left now were ninjutsu. He knew he could ace the thanks to the help of Caillou and her kitsune illusions, although he didn't have to use them. It was after all just a henge, and for old time's sake, Naruto decided to reintroduce the Oryu no Jutsu. Needless to say, Iruka was not amused, and was also still blown backward. The last and final test. Buncha no, Naruto really hated what he was going to do. The look on Iruka's face when he failed Naruto again was almost too much for him to bear, but he would persevere. And just like last time, Mizuki came up to Naruto and told him the same story, and gave him the same bullshit makeup test. Naruto's acting skills were really tested because inwardly Naruto was laughing his ass off at how stupid the test was, but then Caillou had to ruin his fun and remind him that he had believed it the first time. This reminder made Naruto pout, though he had to agree with the fact that he used to be an idiot. Later on, that same night just before the start of the mission, Hinata and Naruto had met up once again on top of the fort's head. Don't forget to copy every scroll of the Hyuga library. There might be some interesting things in there. After all, you might even be able to improve your own skills with it too. I know, see you soon, Naruto-kun. And with a kiss they separated. Hinata went back to the Hyuga compound to copy her family's library, while Naruto gave her a distraction in the means of stealing a top-secret scroll. Getting in was easy for Naruto, hell, he even did it when he had no formal training whatsoever. So now, after having another few years of stealth experience, this should be a piece of cake. Of course, that would certainly be the case if it was any other building except the Namikaze compound, but then again, since he could just shut off the alarms there, it wasn't really a challenge. However, luck just wasn't with him. When he finally got the scroll, he looked around, and again, just like last time, there stood the 3rd Hokage. "Naruto, what are you doing?" asked the perplexed Hokage. Sorry old man, but I really want to graduate. Work no jutsu. Now Hokage, well, one of the strongest shinobi of the village, was still a closet pervert, a huge closet pervert, so of course, with thanks to Naruto's extra experience, he got a nosebleed even huger than before. After all his work no had been upgraded, his very informative cuddle session with both Hinata-chan and Caillou-chan, and the honeymoon with Hinata, were just the beginning. His older mind also had knowledge of just what perverted old men really like, especially after going through his tutelage of seals with Jiraiya. Creeping back out of the Hokage's tower, he headed to the clearing just like last time. Once there, he got out a prepared scroll and started copying it, made so much easier thanks to it having the exact same dimensions. After copying, he began his reading. He knew what other useful information was on it. After the first hour of really studying the scroll, he learned a lot of interesting things about the Kage Bunshin. For example, a cage bunshin is only as effective as the ingenuity of the creator. If 10 bunshin all did the same exercise exactly the same way, then he wouldn't get anything out of it, except of course repeating something that one already knew how to do, to make it more efficient. Another fact, which came as a bigger shock for Naruto, was that apparently he had never really completely mastered the cage bunshin no dot. After all, what the scroll described here was that the puffs of smoke he made were only there because he still wasted too much chakra for things that didn't matter, such as smoke, or the fact that he couldn't decide just how much chakra a bunshin got, which apparently was possible. So Naruto decided that he better start practicing. He was so focused on his task that he never even noticed Hinata till she spoke up. "Why are you practicing the cage bunshin against Naruto-kun?" "Well, apparently I've not really mastered it." "What do you mean, Naruto-kun?" "Well, you see, if we make them then we still have those puffs of smoke even when we don't want to, like when infiltrating. But apparently those poofs mean that you still don't use the technique, as you should. Those puffs of smoke are made with extra chakra that you put into it. This chakra is completely lost to your surroundings, so now I am trying the cage bunshin without the proof. If I master this step then I can decide whether they phase in or proof in. Because the proofs are sometimes handy, certainly when you want to obscure yourself from view, though they do work both ways." Oh, slightly disgruntled that even though she had still unconsciously used too much chakra and created smoke, after all she used to only get 10 cage bunshin out without falling unconscious. Though now that she thought about it, a lot of techniques that the instructors used also never used much smoke, except the henge, and then it was more to mask the illusion setting in. Okay, we should probably try to get this for all our techniques, and, if possible, also reduce the seals to just one like you do with cage bunshin. "What do you mean? There is only one seal necessary for the cage bunshin." "No, Naruto-kun, it's pretty advanced, there are normally 10 seals." "Ha, but there's only one here." "Naruto, roll up the scroll a bit." "Ha, you don't have the top of the scroll rolled out totally." "And what did you say about it being only the first part?" "Well, what do you know, figure that, after rolling the scroll up the last bit, it was revealed that Naruto had indeed apparently only learned the difficult method, but back to the mastering of the. It also seems that you, as creator of the bunshin, should be able to decide how just much chakra each bunshin gets, and in which pattern they come out. And this is useful. How? Well, with more chakra the clones are more durable, and last longer. And less chakra means less durable, and shorter lifespan. Now if you can use less you can make more, and, as to why learning this is handy, and if you could make a clone that could take more hits, then that could give you more time to prepare for something else, right? Or imagine you only have enough chakra to make say 5 bunshin. When you've mastered this, you see the potential, don't you? Okay, so you've got a point there, so how do we stop the proof? Well, Hinata-chan, I would love to explain, but now you first have got to hide. Gigi will find me with his ball in a minute. You did get the copies of the Hyuga library, right? While making a shooting motion. "Yes dear," said Hinata with a mock pout. Naruto was to kiss her quickly, and then push her away. "Time to put this show on the road," said Naruto to no one in particular. After which Naruto started to practice using all 10 hand seals instead of just one. After about an extra half hour, Ruka finally found him. "Naruto, what were you thinking?" "You found me, and I only learned one technique too. But if I show you, that's enough to let me graduate, right?" asked Naruto with his big goofy smile, hoping to clue Ruka in, which didn't seem to work all that well. He was instead fixated upon just how much trouble Naruto was in. "Naruto, how did you get that scroll?" "Oh, this. Mizuki-sensei told all of me about it, and about this place too," said Naruto, still using his best acting. "He said that if I showed him a technique from this scroll, I'd finally be allowed to graduate, you know, the special makeup test." It was at this point that Mizuki arrived, and immediately threw a couple of kunai at the duo. Now if Naruto hadn't gone back in time, then Iruka would be seriously wounded by the kunai, as he jumped in front of Naruto, which was pretty odd considering his status in the former war. But since Naruto knew the kunai were coming, as he had already sensed Mizuki, he simply pushed Iruka away while jumping away himself. Unfortunately, due to this unexpected push, Iruka fell back with his leg swinging upward a little, making a few kunai hits instead of his torso. So since Iruka's leg still got kunai through it, he couldn't even think about making a run for it like last time. "He not bad, demon brat, so why don't you give me that scroll now, and I won't hurt you too badly," said Mizuki, giving up all attempts of deceit. "Naruto runs," screamed Iruka. "Don't listen to Naruto, and don't give him the scroll even if you die." At this Mizuki chuckled. "Naruto, there's no point in you having it, I'll even tell you the truth about you." "No, don't," screamed Iruka again. 12 years ago the fox never did die, it was sealed, but shortly after it was sealed there was a rule made. You see, the rule was to never be told to you. "A rule, not told to me?" asked Naruto, still pretending to be a scared little boy. "Yes, the rule forbids anyone from saying to anyone who didn't know that the demon fox, the murderer of Iruka's parents, and many more including the fourth, was you. So I'll kill you, and my master will reward me handsomely." Now Naruto had enough, and decided to completely go off the beaten path. "Oh, that rule, sorry sensei, but you really need to keep up with the time." "Ha." asked Mizuki, with a confused look on his face, the same look that came over Iruka's. And you'll also really need to read your law book again. The rule stated to never tell anyone who didn't know about the fact that I have the fox sealed in me, just like Iruka-sensei knows. This only aggravated Mizuki, and startled Iruka. Don't lie, you demon, Mizuki screamed. Now I'll kill you, and be hailed as the hero who finally slayed the demon. Any last requests? Yeah, did you make my test look so bad, or was it another instructor? Cause I know I had a better result than Kiba. Yes, that was all me. We couldn't have you graduating now, could we? I knew you would fail the bunchin, but just to be sure I hid your result with it to show the wrong answers, so that you would fail. Look, he thought so. Now seeing, as you did break that little law, you die. As if you could, said a now laughing Mizuki. You're right, I by myself can't, but, said Naruto, doing the seals for his cage bunchin no, while he also whispered, cage bunchin no, making sure neither Mizuki or Iruka heard. So they formed. It wasn't perfect yet, but at least there was a little bit less smoke than the previous time, and boy were there a lot of them. We can. I really wouldn't have cared if you would have hurt me, I could have forgiven you. But you injured one of our precious people, said all the Narutos together, so now we'll make you pay. Now normally it would be just Naruto, and his many cage bunchin beating Mizuki up. But they needed a backup plan to get Hinata also involved, so that they could get put on the same team, in case his request was denied. So they had decided that it would be her that brought down Mizuki for good. And so she mixed herself within the mass of clones, hiding her from both Mizuki, as Iruka's view, and then when she saw an opening permanently disabled his chakra, nearly killing him in the process. It didn't really matter, after all he was going to die for breaking the third law, but they didn't want to kill him, so she just disabled him, while Naruto also broke a few of his bones, just for the heck of it. After all, Mizuki could know more stuff about Orochimaru. After Hinata retreated to her hiding spot, Naruto dispatched his clones. I went a little too far. Naruto, come over here, there's something I want to give you. Close your eyes. Naruto knew what was coming. Congratulations on graduation. Good job, but now let's go see the Hokage. Hi, Iruka-sensei, said Naruto, can't wait to see the old man, and show him. While walking there, after bandaging Iruka's leg up of course, all the villagers glared at Naruto. Iruka seeing the glares just wondered how Naruto could stand it at his age. If it were him he would have broken long ago. It was also very lucky that none of them tried anything, probably because they saw Naruto had Iruka with him, and that they were heading to the Hokage. The large part was hoping the Hokage finally rid them of this problem. They had heard about what the demon child had done, and were looking forward to seeing him pay. Finally arriving, Iruka sighed, glad the obvious glares were gone. Naruto sighed as well. Even though the obvious glares were gone, he could still feel the glares given to him by the Anbu and secretaries, but Anbu at least masked it better, and even if you saw him, as he was supposed to be seen, a hero. Arriving at the Hokage's office, Iruka stepped forward, and they were let in, and before Iruka's debriefing, Naruto gave back the scroll. The debrief started with his report from how he went to the forest, instead of searching through the village, cause he didn't think Naruto would hide out in it. Then he told the whole scene from his perspective of how Mizuki told Naruto the truth, how Naruto pushed him away, and how Naruto beat the crap out of Mizuki, and then he went on to how he had decided to graduate Naruto from the academy, because of hearing about the on the paper, and him learning the cage bunchin. Thank you, Iruka-san, you are dismissed, said the Hokage. Come on Naruto, I'll treat you to ramen. But before Naruto could comment, the Hokage interrupted. Sorry Iruka-san, but I need Naruto to give his report as well. You are dismissed. Interpreting the implied command for what it was, and to let the Hokage have some privacy, he left the office. So Naruto told me how it was that I saw Miss Hyuga there, as well, fighting alongside you. What are you talking about, Gigi? Said Naruto, trying to stick to the plan of first asking, and only then revealing Hinata's involvement when necessary. I know Hinata was there with you, Naruto. I saw her giving the blow that rendered Mizuki unconscious. Now tell me everything from the very beginning. Okay, it was earlier today. Hinata-chan was with me trying to cheer me up when Mizuki came along, so she hid. As she was hidden, she overheard the talk between me and Mizuki, only she didn't take everything at face value. Well, neither did I, especially since Mizuki wasn't nice to me until a month ago, so she told me she would help me. Don't really know why she'd want to help, but still, she talked me into letting her help. She first said that it was pretty unusual to have a backup test, and even more so when I had told her about my answers to my written test, when she was trying to cheer me up. So she decided to take a look at it. It was so cool she could just look through everything, and she noticed the place on my paper, said Naruto, while acting like the annoyed little brat he used to be. After we knew something was up, we decided to be extra careful, and just in case something went wrong she would be there, as backup. Then I went and got the scroll while she went home to check in with her family. They have done the same thing every day. Every day? Asked the Hokage. You know, she said that. Asked Naruto, full of hope that he would buy that. Come now Naruto, what do you take me for? Fine. Said Naruto, deciding to let the plan go, and improvising a little. Me and her have been training together for the exam. That's also why she came looking for me. We have been training together, and so she came to cheer me up. Okay, continue. So after splitting up, I came to the tower, and stole the scroll while she went to her family. After breaking into the tower, I went to the field where Iruka found me, where I then learned the cage bunchen in case what Mizuki said was true. Plus you gotta admit, would you've not learned from the scroll if you could've when you were my age? Explained Naruto, and hoped to get the Hokage to think of him as a kid who got duped, and not a former Kage who won a war, only to then go back in time to save everyone. So I then started reading. When Hinata finally returned, she decided to hide in the bushes, as backup, just in case, which now seemed like a really good idea. Also she saw Iruka coming, and it wouldn't be seen because if it were true, and it came out that I had help, he could still fail me. So she hid, but when Iruka came, and didn't react like how he should have had he been in the known, at that moment, we both knew something wasn't right, so she decided to stay hidden, so she could surprise Iruka or Mizuki if necessary. Then Mizuki arrived, and I played the part of me being stupid idiot that I always was. Oh yes, you already knew about the rule. Do tell me how you knew about that. It really isn't that hard to figure out, you know. A. All the villagers hate me. B. I have whiskers like marks on my cheeks. C. I have a seal over half of my stomach. D. My birthday falls on the same day the Kyuubi attacked. And lastly, but not in any way the least, D. How could a Hokage ask from anyone to sacrifice their son for the ritual, if he wouldn't do it himself? As such, I would like to get all my property back. The Hokage was stunned. What? How did I figure it out? Asked Naruto. The Hokage just nodded. Well, I have yellow hair, blue eyes. There aren't many people with it. Then add that I look almost identical to the fourth. After that, add on the other fact that I was chosen to house the Kyuubi. It was very likely that I was his son, and now you just confirmed it, said Naruto with his proud megawatt smile. Here he was the strongest ninja in Konoha, being conned into admitting something he didn't want to admit. Trying to hope Naruto would just leave it at that, he told him to continue. After that I used the cage bunchen, and Kinda kicked the crap out of Mizuki, but thanks to Hinata it was so much easier. Thanks to her he got his chakra shut off, and so I could just beat him up if he had had his chakra. It would have been, as Shikamaru so nicely put it, troublesome. After I beat him up with the help of Hinata, and she went into hiding again, after that we came here. And that's about the gist of it. Okay, well then I'll guess I should congratulate you on a mission well done. You can go. Actually, I do have some requests. Since you no longer have to hide the fact that I am his son, I want the Namikaze compound key. Well, since this is yours, I guess I should give it to you. But I must implore you to keep this secret, you know the reasons, right? Yeah, if this gets out, I could quickly become bingo number 1 of Iwa with a kill on sight order. Okay, just as long as you know the risk. What's the other request? Well, since you already saw Hinata-chan, this will be easier. I want her and me to be on the same team. Sorry Naruto, but the teams are already made, and the team of Hinata was designed to be trackers. And then your team would be equal, having the tops with the dead last to compensate. But I'm not the dead last. I gather information better than anyone in the year, and having the furball inside me does give me some benefits. Sorry dear, everyone still sees you as the big bad Bujiman, even if you're a woman, and quite nice. It's alright dear, I understand. Are there any other benefits that you know about? Not that I know at the moment, except that my healing properties are incredible. But I don't think that would be all. After all, it does seem that it's quite controversial for it to let me die. And after all, I wouldn't want that cute tush of yours to be hurt, and I can't even imagine what Hinata-chan would do to me. Thought Caillou with a shudder. When Naruto had to try hard not to snicker, Kyuubi, the monstrous demon fox, was scared of a 12 going on 20-year-old little girl. So what are these benefits that you know of? Quite simply, I can hear extra low frequencies, like the humming of the bugs in Shino's body. Just as proof, he already has 2 colonies in him, but only uses 1 in class. Next, my eyesight range is about 1.5 farther than an average shinobi, any farther than that, and then it's only if the target isn't moving. But the best part of this is that I have perfect night vision. If you don't believe me, then just move through the room while it's completely dark in here, and I'll still be able to spot you. Not really see your colors, only shades of gray, and the outline. But then again, that's more than enough in our world, isn't it? And then third, but not the least, I can smell a living person a couple of miles away depending on wind, and apparently I can smell dead people up to 30 miles AWAY 48 kilometers, something to do with foxes being scavengers. So now that your point is moot, you will change the teams, right? I'm sorry Naruto, but they have already been made. Okay, you asked for it. If you don't put me on the team with Hinata, I will tell all Anbu and Jonin about your secret stash. You wouldn't, not for my sake, said a now thoroughly shocked and very frightened Hokage. Oh, but I meant the other stash. You're bluffing? Asked the hoping Hokage. I did steal the secret scroll, but then that only takes about a minute, and you were out for at least half an hour, so don't push me. And why are you so against this? Well, it would cause trouble with the Hyuga. You know how they think about you. You on the same team with their era would just be asking for it. Oh, but that wouldn't be a problem. If all goes according to plan tomorrow, Hinata Hyuga won't exist anymore. What do you mean, Naruto? What are you up to? Oh, I won't do anything, if everything goes to plan. Naruto, Sorry old man, got to go, ramen is waiting, and don't forget to switch the teams after all. Kiba is really dead last, just ask Iruka-sensei, and tell him that that shot wasn't an accident. At this Naruto quickly left, and headed to Ichiraku's ramen. After all, Iruka still had to treat him for graduation. Kinda ironic that Naruto was going to see Iruka before the Hokage, but still used the old man to pass along the mission. As Naruto was out of the question, the Hokage just sighed, and started on figuring out just how to deal with the teams, now that Naruto wasn't dead last anymore, all the while muttering, "I'm getting too old for this shit." And so the evening ended with Naruto eating nearly all of Iruka's end of the exams premium after picking him up from the hospital. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.